Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're hopping into the Garp's challenge, the 10-star events, utilizing some no-stall teams for Mono Quick to help you guys take down these events very quick. So we do have a team for Heavenly Demon, Revolutionary Army 1, the WhiteBeard Pirates, as well as Eneru, and all of the teams do not involve any stalling whatsoever. So let's have a look at the teams. So against Dofi 1, we are utilizing a double Shanks Crew lead. Shanks Crew is just an absolute god for these particular fights, as there are no normal attacks only, besides a little bit on the WhiteBeard fight. But you can actually utilize his end of turn damage, as well as the 3.5 times chainlock being very strong, and you can actually just blow away stages, which is absolutely awesome. Next, we've got Bellamy. Bellamy is like, I actually recently finished my Bellamy for PvP, but he's an exceptional unit, man. The double special activation and greatly boosting slot effects, as well as giving matching orbs and a little bit of a HP cut, is awesome, because you can actually use the Smoker support on him too. So you can get like 2 lots of orb boosts, matching orbs, HP cuts, and an attack boost if you have Smoker support as well, which is great. Next, we've got Sengoku. Sengoku's here to remove Despair, which is awesome. He's also an orb boost, as we do have 4 quick or Psi units. We do have the Hakuba support, but he's not essential. He's just for a guaranteed orb on that particular stage. Next, we've got Moria. Moria is awesome as removing paralysis and attack down. He also removes decreased chain multiplier growth rate. So he's very good on the WhiteBeard fight as well. But because he is a Moria unit, we can actually use this Kuma support. Now, this Kuma will remove 5 turns of Despair, which makes him very good for Dofi 1, as that'll just get rid of one of the Despairs for you. The final unit we have is Blackbeard. This free-to-play PvP Blackbeard, he reduces paralysis, sets the defense to 0, and gives an orb buff as well as a HP cut, which means we can use the Smoker support. Now, if you don't have this Smoker support, don't stress, you can just use the switch abilities of Shanks Crew, as the 1.5 times attack boost doesn't differ too much from the 1.75. So that's the Heavenly Dofi, or the Heavenly Demon Dofi 1 team. The next team is for Revolutionary Army 1. Once again, we are using 2 Shanks Crews. Very strong for these fights. We do have the Sea Monster. He's an orb booster, as well as removing defense up for quick and Psi, which is awesome, and a carryover effect if you hit 3 perfects, as well as doing damage, which means we can use the Smoker support once again. Next, we've got the original Tank Man, the unevolved V1 Snake Man. He does a butt ton of damage and gives an attack boost, which is awesome, as we just use him basically as a stage wipe, which is very fun to use this old unit. Plus, we can utilize the support of Halloween Ace to remove bind, the first lot of bind that gets inflicted. Next, we've got Sobermask. Sobermask can rotate orbs into T&D and give an attack boost, as well as use the Nami support to remove bind as well, which is super nice. And finally, we've got V3 Kuzan. He's an orb booster and a color affinity boost. He's very strong, as we can actually use this limited rare recruit, Sakazuki, to massive reduce all defense on the final stage as well. Not essential, it's a bit overkill, but it helps out a little bit. On to the next fight now, we come up against the WhiteBeard Pirates. Once again, we are utilizing double Shanks Crew. His end of turn damage just helps out so much, just like wave clearing the stages that have more than like 2 fodder enemies. Next, we've got Bellamy. Once again, double special activation means we can get that orb boost twice, which is really strong actually. Next, we've got Daifuku. You can replace Daifuku with like Bobbins on this team, but with double special activation, he can remove the defense up and damage reduction that Josu puts up, as well as doing damage, which means we can use the Smoker support once again. The biggest upside to using Smoker is purely his support, as you can see. I tried to find a spot for him on my like quick runs, but he's just bad. Next, we've got Kaku. Kaku needs to be Limit Break Plus for this particular fight. That way you can go down to the 10-turn cooldown, and a 7-turn cooldown for his level 1. He changes all orbs into his orb, as well as removing paralysis and attack down, which is great for this fight. And you can easily get the 7 turns back, get his special once again. He does damage, so you can use the Smoker support on him as well. Finally, we are using Laffy. Laffy is our orb booster 2.5 times, as well as being a dex unit on the final stage. It just helps us put in that big extra shot against WhiteBeard, as well as utilizing their switch ability that can actually remove slot bind, which is super nice. I do have the Sabo support on Luffy and Law, just so we can get the base attack of 1.5. It just makes sure that we can kill WhiteBeard there. I recently picked him up too, so I really wanted to use him. The final team, we are using a Shanks Crew and hybrid Sugar team. Now, this team functions fairly finicky, but it is very fun to use. So, utilizing Shanks Crew gets around the special bind. Sugar can get around the stuns, and we are using Sugar as our one of our subs as well, as we do want those bears twice. Next, we've got Lucy. Lucy's great as a 2-turn attack booster, as we do get special rewind as well, so we can carry that into a stage, as well as Shanks Crew's chainlock. And utilizing Lucy means we can use Halloween Ace as the support to remove bind as well, which is super handy. Next, we've got Sengoku. Sengoku is an orb booster, as well as removing attack down and despair, but the big reason he's here is for his orb boosting mechanic, as well as using the limited rare recruit a Kainu to give a 2.75 times chain lock, which is so nice. Finally, we got Bonnie. She can remove bind as well as give 2 turns of a 1.75 times attack and then a 2 times attack into the final stage. Very strong, as we need that carryover as we do utilize the bears against stage 6 and 7. So they're the 4 teams for you guys. Just to reiterate, this is the Enel team. This one here is the WhiteBeard team. This one's for Revolutionary Army 1, and this one's for Heavenly Demon 1. So that's enough about the teams. We're going to start at Dofi 1. Let's hop in. So for the first part of the video, we are taking on Heavenly Demon 1. Now for Heavenly Demon 1, we are using double Shanks crew. Now Shanks crew is pretty much going to appear in all of these teams, mainly because when you are doing these no stalling runs, his end of turn damage that he can provide, as there are no normal attacks only, is actually very good and can actually get through most of the content for you, which is great. I think it's like 2.5 mil if you hit all of your perfects, which is very strong, as it is AoE, and without normal attacks only, you really don't have to worry about taking, you don't have to really worry about other specials giving you damage output, as Shanks can just provide so much end of turn damage that he can just blow away stages. Like I was saying, especially on these on these no stalling runs, getting those wave clear mechanics is very strong. On stage 2 against the vacuum cleaner lady, she's going to give us despair, but with the support of Kuma on our Moria, we can remove that. We can then switch with our Shanks crew, providing us a full board of matching orbs as we carried them over from the previous stage. And then we can just use the Bellamy special to give ourselves an orb boost. With that 1.5 times attack, as well as the orb boost from Bellamy, we should have enough damage to take out the vacuum cleaner lady chick with all of our characters, even without hitting all of our perfects, which is very nice. On to stage 3 now, we come up against Rebecca. Now, Rebecca's going to put up defense up, and she's going to paralyze us. This is where the special of Blackbeard is very strong. It's not only does he set the defense to 0, he removes paralysis, but with the support of Smoker, he can give us an attack boost as well. Now, if you don't have the Smoker support, do not stress, as you can just use the switchability of Shanks crew. The 1.5 times attack boost should be enough, as when you switch with your Shankses, you can get some matching orbs, and as you can see, we can blow them away without even using one of our characters. On the next stage, when we come up against the Dressrosa units, we are going to pop one of our Shanks crew specials, and then just by hitting 5 of our perfects, we can actually blow away this entire stage. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to hit all of my perfects, just to show you guys how much end of turn damage Shanks can actually provide. So with all of our perfects, one Shanks crew will hit for 2.7 mil roughly, 2.67. So it's a lot of damage, and as you can see, it works great when you have those stages that have lots and lots of units. On the next stage, we come up against Barto. Now, Barto is going to gloom our captains, as well as have a barrier. So what we want to do here is we're going to switch with Shanks crew first, as I do have the support of Hakuba, or Cavendish, on my Sengoku. The big reason he's there is just to guarantee us another orb on Sengoku, as you do want to try and get like 2 orbs here, just to sort of maximize the orb buff. But depending on your role, you should be able to take out Bardo fairly easily, as you do have the end of turn damage still from Shanks and the carryover of the 3.5 times chain lock. On the next turn, we come up against Treble and 3 of his gunner friends. They are going to paralyze us, but with the support of a special of Moria, we can actually remove the paralysis, take out the units in the back, and then switch with Shanks crew, give ourselves an attack buff, and then use our other Shanks crew special to give a 3.5 times chain lock. Now, ideally, you do want to be in the crew variation of Shanks before you move into the next stage. That is not essential, but it definitely helps out a lot, as if your captain is a quick unit, the gunner on the right-hand side of Dofi will actually run away, basically. He just goes, or he, I think it's a he just says, no color affinity to quick, runs away, and that way you don't have to worry about taking him out. Now, the Cannoneer on the left and right-hand side of Dofi actually have a lot of defense, so the end of turn damage from Shanks won't actually kill them, but they do have very little HP. So we are going to start the attack chain with Moria on the Cannoneer next to Dofi. He has a 5 hit counter, which means that we can basically take him out completely, and with the end of turn damage of Shanks, we can just wipe the rest of the stage. Beautiful. So there you go. That was double Shanks crew for Dofi 1, no stalling whatsoever. On to the next challenge now. We are taking on Revolutionary Army 1. Once again, we are using double Shanks crew. As mentioned in the Dofi part, Shanks crew he makes things so much easier than they actually are, especially when there are no normal attacks only on these 10-star Garp challenges. In my opinion, he is still the best quick captain that you can possibly use, especially for these challenges, these mono quick challenges. Komurasaki is very good. Sugar's still very good. I mean, Smokey you could make an argument for, but just when it comes to no normal attacks only, and utilizing 2 Shanks crews, you can actually output a lot of damage, as these challenges aren't built around sort of big HP. It's about like making your way through content and getting around lots of different debuffs. On stage 2, we come up against Kuma. Kuma has defense up, and that's about it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to switch with one of our Shanks crews to provide us a full board of orbs. Then we're going to use the Sea Monster special. The Sea Monster is going to give us an orb buff, as well as remove the defensive effects. And with the attack boost from Shanks, I mean, I had the Smoker support there, but as you can see, it's not going to matter too much, as we do have an orb buff with our Sea Monster for both Psy and Quick, and we can actually carry that into the next room as long as we hit 4 of our perfects, or 3 of our perfects, something like that. What we're going to do on this particular stage now is we can utilize the, what are we going to do here? We're going to utilize the special of our Gear 4 Luffy. Luffy's going to give us a 2x attack boost, as well as basically kill all of the lackeys around the outside. And then with the switchability of our Shanks crews, we can easily remove those bomb orbs, utilize the attack buff, utilize the orb buff, and take out Robin on that first turn. On to the next stage now, we come up against Inuyasuma and Ivankov. They are going to blow away one of our random middle units. Hopefully it's the Sea Monster. Okay, they blew away the wrong unit, but that's fine. Because what we're going to do on this particular stage is we're going to switch with Shanks crew. We're going to use one of the Shanks crew specials. That way we can get the end of turn damage, we can get the 3.5 times chain lock, and we should be able to say goodbye to this entire stage. We do have type advantage on Ivankov as well with our Shanks crews. So as you can see, there's just plenty of damage with that cheeky little attack boost, as well as the chain lock. On the next turn, we come up against Morley and Bello Betty. Bello Betty raises attack, and Morley locks onto him. He does have a barrier as well, which is a little bit finicky to get around, as there's a lot of HP barrier. But we still do have the carryover effect of Shanks. So with the switchability of our other Shanks crew, we can get the attack boost. We can get some matching orbs, which is great. We can put all of our damage into Morley and rely on Shanks to take out Bello Betty. Boom. 2.7. Jeez. Crazy stuff. On to the next turn now, we come up against Lindbergh and Karasao. They're going to give us a full board of block orbs, and they're going to blind our right-hand side. So make sure you do have Sober Mask on the left-hand side with the Nami support. That way you can use the Sober Mask special for an attack boost, get a full board of orbs, and remove the blind as well, which is super, super handy. Then we can switch with our Shanks crew, give ourselves a chain lock with the Shanks crew special. We are going to switch with the other Shanks crew just so we can switch into the Psy variant on the next turn, and we should be able to take out this entire stage. Ideally, just focus on Carousel with your quick units. That way you build up, or you have a chain lock actually, now that I'm thinking about it, so it doesn't really matter. You can rely on the end of turn damage with Shanks there as well. That is another option for you guys, as you do have all that damage with those perfect hits. On to the final stage now, we come up against Sabo and Koala. We do have the chain lock carryover, which is great. They are going to do a 50% HP cut and give us burn, which is a little bit annoying. But we can switch to Shanks crew for an attack boost. We can use the special of Kuzan for an orb boost and color affinity. And with that, and the support of Akainu setting the defense, I don't know if it's to 0, but it definitely sets it a lot lower than it actually needs to be. But as you can see there, we have so much damage just hitting 3 perfects, we can take out Sabo Koala very, very easily. And then on the res, we have the Sober Mask special once again, and we can finish them off easy peasy. So there you go, that was Revolutionary Army 1. Definitely one of the easier of the 10-star Garp challenges in my opinion. The next two have a little bit more gimmicks, but for me, Dofi 1 always seems to be the trickiest to get around if you don't have good supports. Alright, so moving on to the next challenge now, we are coming up against the WhiteBeard Pirates. Now, WhiteBeard is where things start to get a little bit tricky, as WhiteBeard revolves around attack down, and there aren't a lot of very good supports that can get around that, but there are a couple of very good units that have low cooldown. This Kaku, for example, has has a Limit Break key that gives him a lot of cooldowns, or you can even use someone like the Moria that you saw in the Dofi video, or the Dofi part of the video. That way you can easily get around the attack down. Now, if you are using Kaku like I am, you do want to make sure that he is underneath one of the Shanks crews. That way, when you switch with your Shanks crew on the next turn on the Watermelon Head guy, you can actually give him a matching orb. But as you'll see, like, it doesn't really matter too much, as you can just sort of hang on to that particular orb. So on the stage against the Watermelon Head guy, we are going to utilize the Kaku special. We can then switch with our Shanks crews to give ourselves an attack boost and give us some more color affinity, and then we can use the Bellamy special to give us an orb boost. Now, Bellamy has double special activation, which is super nice, as we can actually get access to his special once again before the end of the run. With the type advantage of Shanks crew, you just only need to hit with 4 units here, which is super, super nice, as we can salvage those orbs on Daifuku and Law. But once we hit this particular stage against Huguma, Atmos, and the Chainball guy, they're actually going to give us special blind. Now with Shanks crew, he doesn't really give a rat's ass about special blind, so we can switch with one of our Shanks crews, give ourselves a 1.5 times attack boost, give ourselves a 3.5 times chain lock for 3 turns, as well as get access to that amazing end of turn damage that I keep rambling on about. With that end of turn damage, you basically just have to hit some perfects and you can blow that stage away. On to stage 4, this is where things would normally be a struggle for most teams, as Fossa could be on a 2, 3 or 4 turn cooldown. With our particular run, it really doesn't matter too much. All that matters is we hit our 6 perfects. That way we can actually just blow this particular stage away. Once we hit our 6 perfects, Shanks crew's end of turn damage goes rar, and we move on to stage 5. On stage 5, we come up against Jozu. Jozu's going to put up 3 turns of defense up and a damage reduction. This is where we can use the special of Daifuku, as long as you have double special activation. You could replace Daifuku with someone like Bobbins, but the reason I'm using Daifuku is so I can access the support of what's his name? Smoker. If you guys don't have that support, do not stress, as you can just utilize the switch ability of Shanks crew to get the 1.5 times attack boost. Before you do start attacking on this particular stage, you do want to make sure that you use one of your Shanks crew specials. Very important that you do use one of the Shanks crew specials, as we do want that chain lock carry over into the next stage, as when Jozu dies, he gives us normal attack only, and when we move into the next stage against Marco and Vista, they give us 3 turns of attack down, paralysis, and they give chain lock. But with this particular team, the chain lock really doesn't matter, as we carrying the Shanks chain lock into this particular stage. On this particular stage, we need to use our Kaku special. It's only stage 1, which means that he's only going to rotate adjacent orbs. Ideally, if you were smarter than I am, you could use the opposite Shanks crews. That way you can guarantee yourself some quick orbs. But with this setup, it's not going to matter too much, as we do still have the end of turn damage. Or sorry, the 3.5 times chain lock, but we will not have the end of turn damage from Shanks, as we do have normal attacks only. So we are going to utilize the special of Bellamy here. Bellamy's going to make Cyan in orbs matching, as well as give us an orb boost. That double special activation that Bellamy can provide is actually really, really nice for a free-to-play unit. Like, really, really nice. As you can see, with that cheeky little attack boost, the orb buff, as well as the chain lock, we can easily take this stage out. Now, before you move on, I would highly recommend being the law variation before you move on to that this next stage, as we do want to switch into Luffy. And when you switch into Luffy, you can actually remove the chain lock. Sorry, not the chain lock, the orb seal, which is very, very nice. So we are going to switch with our Shanks crews to give us a cheeky little 1.5 times attack boost. Then we're going to switch with our Luffy and Law after that, and then we can use the Luffy and Law special to give us a 2.5 times orb boost. With that and the Sabo support giving us extra attack, we should be able to take out this particular stage in 1 turn. Just finish your chain with Laffy, or the Luffy variation I should say, and everything will be hunky-dory. Beautiful. So there you guys go. That was WhiteBeard no stalling with double Shanks crew, my boy. So moving into the final challenge now, we're coming up against Eneru, and shocker, we're not actually using double Shanks crew for this particular run. We're actually bringing a friend Sugar, with Sugar on our team as well. So shout out to you Sugar lovers out there, as we are giving the girl a little bit of recognition here. On turn 1, obviously we are going to take out the quick Marine. Now we do want to try and make sure that we do keep matching orbs. So attack with the characters that are next to Shanks crew. In my case is both the Sugars, which is great, because that way we can get those orbs back. Now once we get into the second turn against the Skypiea units, we are going to have to attack in a particular order to make sure that we take out the entire stage on the first turn. So we're going to switch back into our Shanks. That gives us a 1.5 times attack boost. With the support of Halloween Ace, we can remove the bind, and with Shanks crew as our captain, we can get around the special bind, which is super nice. Once we've done that, we can pop our friend Sugar special, turn everyone into bears, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start our attack on the strength unit, change to the dex, and then go back to the strength. So we're going to hit the strength, change to the dex, go back to the strength, and that way we can take out this entire stage and save an orb on our bottom left-hand unit. Now moving into the next stage, now this is where we want to hopefully get a good orb roll. Ideally, you just want to pick up another 2 orbs on your bears. That way you can definitely take this stage out. As Sugar's bears ignore barriers, they ignore the burn as well, which is great. And they give that massive chain buff. So as you can see, as long as you do pick up 2 orbs there, you can take that stage out easy peasy. If you don't, you just kill them on the next turn. It's not that big of an issue. On to the next stage now, we come up against Wiper and 2 of his Skypiea friends. This is where we are going to use the Lucy special. Lucy's going to give us some cooldowns, but he's also going to get the carryover effect. We can then switch with Shanks crew for some orbs, use the Shanks crew special. That way we get end of turn damage, and we can just hit our perfects here and move on to the next stage. Beautiful. So moving on to the next stage now, we come up against Mr. Wingnut and the dude on the ball. They're going to roll our specials back, but we do have the carryover effect of Lucy for an attack boost, as well as the carryover of the chain lock from Shanks, and then we can actually just use our Sugar super typing here. Sugar is going to give our 40 cost units a orb buff, and with that we should be able to take this particular stage out easy peasy. We still have the end of turn damage from Shanks as well, but as you can see, that orb buff that Sugar can provide is just absolutely monstrous. Moving on to the next stage now, we come up against Gidatsu and Om. They're going to bind our bottom row for 4 turns, which goes down to 1 with sockets, and they are going to have an end of turn damage. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use our Bonnie special. Bonnie is going to give our quick units an attack buff. Then we can use our Sengoku special. Sengoku is going to give us a chain lock with the Akainu support as well as an orb buff, and then we can turn everyone into bears with Sugar. Now, you do want to make sure that you are the quick variation of Shanks when you are doing this. Otherwise, when you move into the final stage, Enel will actually be a what's it called unit? A int unit, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the opposite side. So it'll become an int unit with the carryover of the attack boost that Bonnie gives us. We can get a 2 times attack boost to our quick units on this particular turn. Sugar's bears get around the stun mechanic, and Shanks will get around the special bind. But as you can see here, just with that attack boost, we can easily take out Enel, easy peasy. So there you guys go. That was the Garp challenge, Eneru no stalling, and the conclusion to this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me, and if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, I thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Lates!